Videography looks pretty fun online. You see these really big camera setups, these fancy edits, and these rich lifestyles that influencers live. But what most people don't talk about is the income. There's no clear roadmap, so people end up undercharging, burning out, or just straight up quitting, even if they're really good at video. I wanted to make this video to help simplify things and help you understand how money actually works in this industry. I've been doing videography for 5 years now, freelance work, agency work, and creating my own content, and I want to break down 5 ways videographers can make money starting today. The first way to make money is to solve business problems, not creative ones. Businesses don't necessarily pay for how cinematic your work can be. They do pay though for growth, attention, or trust with their potential customers. One of my first projects was for a company called PB&J TV. They were focused on security systems and software, and they hired me to essentially show off their business, interview the employees, show the company's vision, and travel to one of their events. They were a client who paid me because my video helped them communicate who they are and what they do to show other people that they are legit. When you talk to clients, stop asking the question, what kind of video do you want? And start asking, what problem are you trying to solve? Because money will follow that solution. Way number 2 is to pick a lane because clarity creates income. When you try to do everything, weddings, music videos, commercials, or real estate, people don't know what to hire you for. Clarity builds trust. When I first started, I would take any job I could get a hold of just to make some money. But now I've established myself as the interview guy. My best client work so far is using the interview style to tell the story of a business and to really feel the emotions of the people who are involved. Also, the content I've done with @Harry's has done millions of views and that I've gotten paid for using those same conversation skills. You don't have to lock yourself into one way of doing things forever, but I've decided that I want to be the best interviewer in the state of Louisiana, and that's what I'm chasing right now. So by choosing one lane or one type of content, that will make things a lot easier for people to hire me and for me to say yes to them. If you're just getting started as a creator, but you feel overwhelmed by what gear to buy, I made a free video starter kit. It's a one-page list full of beginner-friendly equipment that I have personally owned and tested. Gear like a quality camera, a microphone, and a tripod, all without breaking the bank. You can grab my list for free using the link in the description. Let's get back to the video. Way number 3 is to charge for value, not time. The third shift is learning how to charge for the value you bring to a project and not just the time you commit to it. Hourly pricing feels safe because it comes from that traditional 9-to-5 workday. But what happens with that system and that mindset is it caps your income. And here's the truth. Clients don't really care how long something took. They care about what it does for them. One time I got coffee with a friend who's been doing videography for 20 years, and I told him how much I was charging for projects. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Go home and double it." Initially, I was scared to raise my prices, and talking about money in general made me uncomfortable then. But what he taught me that day is if everyone keeps lowering their prices, it's actually just a race to the bottom. The market becomes so watered down and cheap that everyone playing in the game loses. So the lesson is you need to start packaging your services. If you do social media or marketing, think about bundling different types of content together. If you do weddings, use different tiers for what a couple may want out of their wedding day. Price your videos based on outcomes and the value of the results, and not just based on your effort. Way number 4 to make money is to beat the feast or famine cycle. In other words, to make money, you need some consistency. One big project may feel exciting at the time, but recurring clients is what builds stability. You want to think in time horizons of 6 months or 12 months. What is the monthly content you can do? What are the ongoing video needs for that potential client? And what is your long-term relationship going to look like with the business owner? I was blessed to land my first retainer client in 2025, First Baptist Church, Covington. They had booked me for one-off projects in the past for 3 years up until that point, and now they needed a ton of new content for their website, and I became their go-to person. In our contract, I offer 3 different services as a package, like we just talked about, and this deal was years in the making, and I was so grateful that they gave me this opportunity. By consistently showing up with a good attitude, filming videos big or small for the church, and maintaining a long-term relationship with the staff, I became the videographer they needed when the time was right. The feast or famine cycle is real. One project comes in and you're on cloud 9. And then you're back to panicking if any more work is coming your way. So I want you to start small. Find that first client who needs you on a regular basis, and once you can handle one, then go find a couple more and watch your income start to compound. Way number 5, visibility is part of the job. If no one knows you exist, you don't get paid. Your work can be great, but if it's hidden, it doesn't actually matter how good it is. This is why social media and building a portfolio website are absolutely essential in 2026. I decided that this year I am going to post more content about my freelance business and start this YouTube channel to help people in this industry. And in the month of January alone, I've directly helped over a dozen people fix something in their life or business that wasn't working before I started posting. And I've had work opportunities come in because people saw one of my posts. I know that sounds like a really small number, but it just shows you that you don't need a huge audience to make an impact on people in your circle of influence. Having a portfolio website is also a game changer because people want to see what you can do before they hire you. I put all of my best client work and content creator work in one place at harrisonfredericks.com. And you want it to look clean, you want it to look simple, put some information so people can reach out to you. I used to think talking about my job and what I do just made me automatically selfish. But sharing your work with others isn't bragging, it's how people find you. The lesson is to get involved on social media. Think of your website like a portfolio and don't be afraid to talk of how you can help somebody. Bottom line is that videography is a business before it's an art. Money follows when you start solving people's problems. And when you treat that seriously, other people will too. My name is Harrison. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel. I make videos every week about videography and building a sustainable creative life. And I'll see you guys in the next one.